Hi and welcome to this video on settings, weapon choice and aiming. First of all, we're going to talk about your settings, and your settings ultimately affect your FPS and how well you can aim and track your targets. Now your FPS is totally dependent on your hardware, however you can also change your graphics down. I've got mine set on Ultra simply because I like the way it looks, and 30 frames per second I can play with well. Now if I change mine down to very low I can get an extra 10 or 20 FPS, but unfortunately the game does not look particularly good. And obviously if you want to improve your FPS you drop it down lower, or you can invest in better hardware. Better hardware is not something I'm going to be able to help you with in this video, unfortunately. Anyway, I like to keep off motion blur simply because it doesn't feel right to me. I really don't like it. It doesn't sit well in my mind. And I also turn off GPU particle quality simply because I've had issues with it crashing my game in the past. Now, you've also got settings in here for your mouse input, and you want to get rid of this reduce input lag. Personally, it completely throws off my aim and makes me a much worse player. Use raw mouse input bypasses any kind of external software settings like on Logitech or Razer, whatever kind of mouse you've got and might have installed the software for. You want to try and avoid that because again it messes up your aiming. Now you can also see my mouse sensitivity down here, and you can see my mouse sensitivity is set to 0.37. I've got that set locked in for everything apart from my flight vehicle sensitivity. Now that just gives me a consistent movement factor that I can adjust. So when I'm here in the VR, I can very quickly move between 90 degrees, and I can also flip round and shoot behind me. And I've got this down pretty much spot on. Now, I'd still throw myself off, but then I've only just had my morning coffee and it's shoot all over the place. Anyway, with this, what we can do is we can adjust that, make it slightly higher sensitivity if you're not turning as quick as you would like, or make it lower sensitivity if you want to bit slower. Now apart from that, everything else is just set for me, and that works just right for my gameplay style. The next thing I would like to talk about is weapon choice. Now for me, ultimately weapon choice comes down to the range you're expecting to fight in. If you're using close range weapons, you're looking at using the SMGs, the shotguns, and perhaps the carbines. And if you're looking at medium range, you're looking at assault rifles and LMGs, and long range battle rifles and sniper rifles. Now saying that, within each class you have some wide variations of different ideal range weapons. For example, here I've got the Corvus. Now the Corvus is a medic gun for the VS, and for me it's one of my favourites. If I was to zoom in and try and take out this guy, you can see that very quickly I can track over to the next guy, take him out, and if I can find somebody else to shoot, here we go, I can take all these guys out, all within 3 guys within a single clip. This is all at reasonable range. And if I was to aim over here, and you can see there's some guys right on the horizon, if I press B, change it to single shot mode, I can rattle off 3 headshots in quick succession on that guy. Do the same there, and if I, oh, he's come back, so I'll ruin his day also. And I can again take that guy out very, very easily and straightforwardly, because the Corvus is an exceptional gun at long range. Now, if I was to decide to change my weapon, I'm still sticking with assault rifles, and I change it over to the HV45. Switch out. So switch these out, so it's more suited for close range and hip firing. With the HV45, it's a close range weapon. I've got my laser sight on it for some reason. There we go. And with the HV45, I run over here, and I can very quickly, if I turn it off, single shot mode, and very quickly take these guys out. Very straightforward and very quick. The HV45 is a very good gun for close range, and yet it's still an assault rifle. So if you look at all its stats and check it all out, then you'll be able to see why. And that's it for weapon choice. Next thing that I want to talk about is where you actually shoot your targets. What I'm talking about here is whether you're aiming for a body shot or aiming for a headshot. This is something that I never considered until a couple of months back, when I started thinking about putting these videos together and tactics in general and skill and aiming and all these kind of things. And what I found is that typically I aim for centre of mass and get my kills that way. That is a slightly slower way to do things, as at the head obviously you get multipliers and you kill things faster. However, by aiming at the body, what I found is that I do that because it makes sure that I get a hit, especially at range. I mean, obviously here you got these guys are just standing still, but at range when they're moving, what I'll do is I'll aim for the body because you're more likely to get that hit, because the head is much smaller and it's more difficult to aim at long range, at least for me. Now, you may be totally different. You may decide to go for the headshots, or you may decide to well, do something completely different, but you're going to aim for either the body or the head, basically. Now, this ultimately comes down to your playstyle. Me, I aim for the body shots. I've tried adjusting it to aim for the head, but it's very difficult to get myself out of this after however many kills I've got in FPSs over the years, but you're probably looking at hundreds of thousands if you add them all up, not higher. Now, this is obviously totally down to personal preference. Now, if I run down here and head to the target training targets, for lack of a better word, when I flip around, you can see here that if I aim at this one that's in daylight, you can see I aim at it and I track up. Now, if I do burst fire, it's a lot more accurate as well. And if I change this gun, Corvus, if I change that down to single shot, I can drop my targets very, very quickly. And so if I shoot over there, I've got a friendly over there, so I'm not going to shoot him, but you can see that I'm aiming and taking this down very simply. If I run over here and actually find some enemy targets to shoot at, rather than that guy who's just playing around in harasser, you can see that I can very quickly aim and get a whole series of headshots and get a fair few kills relatively quickly. Now, this is the Corvus, it is exceptionally good at long range, so leave it up to you. Thank you for watching this video on settings, aiming and weapon choice. If you want any more information, just check out our tactics website, which you can find in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and good luck on the battlefield.